we welcome you to the 9th Annual Amistad Arts Award. We have a very fine program, and we have some dynamic people being honored and also some lovely people being on the program, one of which I'll introduce at this time, our fabulous MC, Mrs. Journey Tucker.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Good evening. What a beautiful crowd. It is my pleasure to be your MC and to preside over this affair this evening, this 9th Annual Amistad Arts Award. At this time, I'd like you to know that we're going to move the program right along, and I've been told that it's my responsibility to do so, and I intend to take full charge of that responsibility. At this time, we would like to have Mr. Ronnie Cole to come and bring greetings.
Please don't stop. All right, so far, are you having a good time? Yeah. Oh boy, that's the dullest yeah I've ever heard. Do you intend to have a good time? Yeah. All right. Before we go any farther, I think a nice round of applause should go for truly a great musician and a super band back there. Let's hear it for the William Houston Orchestra. Two great singers, great Hammond B3 player, his son playing drums, who he probably gets to play for half price, and then the rhythm section sits back there. Well, for those of you from out of town, welcome to the greatest city in the country. And for those of you from this city, you damn well know this is the greatest city in the country. And I'll tell you, I am so happy and so proud that my dear friend, Dr. Burns, Lenny Burns, who I guess you're chairman of this event. Yes. And Lenny, by the way, is the incoming president of the U.S. F&G Sugar Bowl. So next year, if you need tickets, do not call me. Call Leonardo Burnsky.
Don't do that to me.
Lenny has been a very, very dear friend, as has Phyllis, for many, many years, and he asked me to come here and sort of, make a welcome and greeting, and I said, well, who are the recipients? And he told me, and I said, my goodness gracious, my three favorite things: reading, eating, and music. And I think you all have a winner here. So I welcome each and every one of you, and I think you have picked three wonderful recipients for this evening, and three people who are truly a credit to their profession. And I'm sorry that I cannot stay for the rest of the evening, but I'm chairman of the Easter Seal, the State Easter Seal Society, and I have a function going on that I am hosting that started 15 minutes ago on St. Charles Avenue. And I better get there and start glad-handing some people, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. But thank you. You all keep up the great work, and thank you so much for asking me here, and you've got such wonderful people. I hope someday that I should be lucky enough to be honored. By the way, Lenny, next year I need 10 tickets.
Thank you, Ronnie, for the lovely welcome. Always so elegant, so casual, and so interesting. Because Ronnie had to leave us, as he mentioned, at this time, I would like very much to introduce the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are sitting on our dais. To my immediate left is the Reverend Mayberry, who is the pastor of the Payne Memorial AME Church. And of course we have our honoree, our distinguished honoree sitting next to him, and you're going to hear a lot more about this lovely honoree as the evening moves on. And next to our honoree is Mrs. Brendolyn McKenna. And Mrs. McKenna is the co-chair of this lovely and elegant event. Next to Mrs. McKenna is Dr. Fred Steedlow, and he is the director of Amistad Research Center. To my immediate right is the distinguished chairman of our event, our Dr. Leonard Burns, and of course our next honoree. We will not take the time to say the special things that will be said about him later on in the program. Sitting next to our honoree is Roger Dickerson. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Of course. Next to our honoree is Mrs. Leonard Bates, the lovely and beautiful Mrs. Leon Bates. And seated next to the lovely Mrs. Bates is Roger Dickerson, professor of music of Southern University of New Orleans. And seated next to Roger Dickerson is Dr. Michael, oh God, is our honorable guest and his lovely wife, Mrs. Ernest Gaines. And Dr. Michael Starsky is seated next to Mrs. Gaines. Dr. Starsky is the director of Louisiana Endowment for the Arts. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished honorees and Dais. We would like to have the Reverend Harold Mayberry to please come and give us our invocation.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we come this evening to thank you for life, for strength, for the opportunity and the possibilities that thou hast given us that we might be your servants. We ask that you will always make us mindful of the challenges that are before us, make us mindful of the knowledge of your strength and your power in our life. We thank you for this organization, for the lives that it touches, for the people whose lives have been made different. We pray a special prayer this evening in the midst of our excitement and our festivities for Dr. Clifton Johnson, that you through your power might strengthen and keep him in your care. We pray for this food that may be of nourishment to our physical bodies, that we might have strength to do your will, for friends, for fellowship, and for food. We give you thanks. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Mayberry, for that touching invocation. At this time, we'll have a Broadway medley done by Mrs. Brendolyn McKenna, our co-chair of the event. and beautiful Ms. Brendolyn McKenna. If that doesn't start our evening off with a splash, nothing will. Thank you, Brendolyn. That was absolutely lovely. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, after such a lovely rendition from Brendolyn, we'd like you to enjoy your dinner, and we'll start back up with the program in just a little bit. Enjoy your meal. Distinguished honorees. Mr. Roger Dickerson will please come forward and present the award, the 9th Annual Amistad Arts Award, to our first honoree, Mr. Roger Dickerson.
Good evening. To the members of Amistad and the board of directors and friends and supporters, I say good evening. Every once in a while, a task comes along affording one a truly pleasurable opportunity. For me, tonight is such an occasion. I met Leon Bates, the person that I've been asked to present this award to. I met Leon some years ago, I guess, in the 70s, in a Baptist church up in Harlem. Leon was performing with the Symphony of the New World under the direction of Benjamin Steinberg, which is a predominantly black orchestra in Manhattan at the time. And I was with my dear friend and mentor, Howard Swanson, and we got to talk to Leon backstage, and when we had a moment to do so, because he was quite the person around, being featured with that orchestra. Can you imagine a symphony orchestra inside a church? Well, they have churches like that in Harlem. Some years later, Leon came to New Orleans to perform a work of mine, a piano concerto that I had written for the celebration of the bicentennial here, and he had come to be the pianist with that for that particular piece. With the New Orleans Symphony, Philharmonic Symphony, under the direction of Werner Tokanowski. Subsequently to that, Leon and I toured through Alabama at the invitation of the Alabama High System of Education. He was performing concerts throughout the schools, universities and colleges in Alabama, and I was tagging along, talking about music. And we had these great conversations driving along the highways of Alabama. Well, I'm saying all that to say this to you, that I have a very special, unique, particular perspective on Leon Bates's talent, not only as a composer, but as a friend. It's said that a person's perspective depends on where they sit. And in terms of Leon Bates's talent, I sit in a very special place. Leon is a true talent. That's a simple phrase, but it is a very important phrase. He is a very serious artist of the highest order, which is no small order in a time as ours, particularly in a country as ours, where we are trying to find our own cultural identity. Leon has carved out for himself a career, a way a livelihood predicated upon serious concert music. This is very tall talking business. Not too many years ago, this would have been something absolutely impossible for an African American. I will tell you today, it is something very difficult for any American. But due to the fact that Leon has this incredible talent and personality, he is among I would say, a few American pianists who are truly great pianists. And I say that in all sincerity. He is truly a great pianist. Very often, great musicians, great persons of various disciplines are passed over for various reasons, which we all know about. And so I'm only too happy tonight to be a part, and I want to congratulate Amistad too, and salute them for selecting Leon Bates for this award. His talent is a formidable one. He plays from coast to coast in America with symphony orchestras. He plays recitals. He's in Europe on call. He does it all when it comes to serious formal concert music. He also has as well a video. I happened to catch this on television, which is kind of a new twist for a 20th century performer. We are well aware of commercialism as it relates to performing music and the arts in New Orleans because we have a lot of musicians here. Leon has this video out, and I was talking to a pianist, Mr. Sharp. I don't know if you know him, Leon, in Florida. And he said he had seen the video, and he was very excited about it. A video with a concert pianist playing serious formal music. It is incredible. For someone to carry on a career as he is presently carrying on full-time is quite a feat. And only someone with a truly great talent could do it. And so, Leon, I'm just too happy to be here tonight to make this presentation to you. On behalf of the, would you come up, Leon, please? On behalf of Amistad and its board and members and supporters, and really all of us, I am only too honored to present to you this award for your outstanding achievements. And as someone standing here, this is a great pianist, a great American pianist. He is already there. I'm only too happy to make this award to you with the best wishes and blessings of Amistad and all of us.
Thank you, Roger, and thank you to all of you. This is gorgeous. This is going to go in a very special place at our home. These kinds of things are a marvelous kind of symbol of the kinds of communicative things you want to establish with audiences. One of the nice things about being a performer is that you make friends everywhere you go, hopefully. And the numbers of friends continue to grow over the years. This is not the kind of a career that happens overnight. It's not an overnight sensation, a meteoric kind of rise. It's something that's developed over a long period of time, which makes a very interesting statement, I think, about life itself and about the fact that some of the things that we work the hardest for are the things that take the longest to achieve. But this has been a very good career for me, one that's taken me to many, many places in the world that I never thought that I would get to, or perhaps as soon as I have. My father always told me that travel was something that was a great education, and it could teach you wonderful things. And it certainly has been every bit of that. When I think about my opportunities to come to New Orleans and be involved here, certainly New Orleans is a very magical city for me. I never knew when I came to this city for the first time to replace another artist with the New Orleans Philharmonic that this would become a second home for me. That it would be a place that I would visit with my wife, who is from here, and that I would have many, many relatives and friends. And certainly, you know, when I think about my involvements with the New Orleans Concerto, written by Roger Dickerson, my involvement with so many wonderful people and organizations here in this city, it's really been a very, very special kind of thing. I had no idea when I got a call when I was teaching at Oberlin College in 1975 that when I was asked to come here to replace another artist with the symphony, that eventually that this would be a second home, that it would be a place that I would visit with my wife and call home, that I would come here and enjoy your marvelous hospitality, your fabulous atmosphere. The food is wonderful, my goodness. And I think a great deal of what I've learned about music shows me that New Orleans is a very natural place in terms of the creation of music. And so I always feel that this is a place where I can really come and relax, as I always say to my wife. Thank you all for this. This is a very special moment. It's kind of a vote of confidence to me, and it certainly is a great inspiration to try to continue on with more concerts and more in this direction. Thank you very, very much.
At this time, I'd like to say to you both, Jocelyn, and to your formidable husband, the huge talent that he is, that we in New Orleans welcome you and are very proud that you select New Orleans as your second home. Ladies and gentlemen, give this lovely lady a hand, the power behind the throne. Y'all know I can't see without my glasses. Okay. Now, at this time, we would like to have Dr. Michael Sartisky to please come and do the honors for us for our next honoree. Thank you very much.
You didn't know you could speak Russian, did you? First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Fred Stilo and the Amistad for giving me this opportunity. I'm not the sort of person who likes to do the things he has to do. But this is something that I very much want to do. It very much comes from the heart. I've known Ernie Gaines from the first time that I came to Louisiana to live 15 years ago. I've grown to love him, to respect him, to know his work, and to admire him beyond words. You know him through some of the major awards he's received in the past. This is a man who has won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. He has won a MacArthur Fellowship for Genius. He's won the National Book Award. He has won the Humanist of the Year Award from my own organization, the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities. Something Napoleonic about Louisiana. I said Ernie is a hero. Sometimes you find heroes in places you least expect and don't know about. The last 3 days we have been, the Louisiana Endowment funded a conference on the 25th anniversary of the My Lai massacre, a very unhappy event in American history that reflected very poorly on this nation. And at that conference these last couple of days, I heard about a man of whom I had heard nothing, that at the My Lai massacre, while American troops had wantonly slain 500 innocent non-combatant Vietnamese, one man, one helicopter pilot named, oh God, I'm sorry, his name just went right out of my head as I said that. I'll remember it in a moment. One man landed his helicopter in the field once he realized what was going on, and put his own body in front of the American troops to protect 9 Vietnamese who were huddling in a bunker. And with tears in his eyes, because he didn't understand what was happening, he didn't realize the massacre was going on, he told his crew to train their guns on the advancing American troops, and that if they fired, to fire upon them. And he did this with tears streaming down his face. He told this story this morning at an oral history. I was happy to hear about this because he was a hero I had not known about at a moment in time that I had not suspected there were any heroes. Ernest Gaines is a hero too. Ernest Gaines, through his writing, has given us all memories we didn't know we would have. He has made living a history of a people that, were it not for Ernest Gaines, would have died with them. And I think some of the best things I can do this evening with you is to remind you of some of the things Ernie Gaines himself has written. In A Gathering of Old Men, which is an extraordinary novel, it's the only novel that I know of in the history of literature, American or otherwise, in which there is a rebellion of old men. Young men rebel. Young men have visions of the future. Young men think they can make things better than they are. Too often, older men, and unfortunately I'm beginning to speak from experience, start to think that things will not change, will not get better. And Ernie gave us a rebellion of old men who had not, even in the waning years of their lives, surrendered to what was. Ernie's also a man who doesn't oversimplify events. He doesn't make things, if you will, simply black and white. And there's a moment in this novel of a confrontation between the white sheriff, who's a good man, and the black old men, each of whom is claiming to have committed a murder which lays present before them. And one of the men is trying to explain to the sheriff what he doesn't see. The sheriff is trying to ask him to tell him what happened. Johnny Paul says, grunted out loud, "No, you don't see." Mapes is the sheriff. He wasn't looking at Mapes. He was looking toward the tractor and the trailers of cane out there in the road. But I could tell he wasn't seeing any of that. I couldn't tell what he was thinking until I saw his eyes shifting up the quarters where his mama and papa used to stay. But the old house wasn't there now. It had gone like all the others had gone. Now weeds covered the place where the house used to be. "Y'all look," he said. "Look now. Y'all see anything? What y'all see?" "I see nothing but weeds, Johnny Paul," Mapes said. "If that's what you're trying to say." "Yes, sir," Johnny Paul said. He didn't look at Mapes. He was still looking up at the quarters. "Yes, sir, I figured that's all you would see. But what do the rest of you don't see?" "What y'all don't see, Roof?" he asked me. He didn't look at me, still looking up at the quarters. "What y'all don't see, Klaatu?" What y'all don't see, Glow. What y'all don't see, Corrine, Rooster, Beulah. What y'all don't see, the rest of y'all. I don't believe I have time for people telling me what they can't or don't see, Johnny Paul Mapes said. I want... Johnny Paul turned on him. He was tall as Mapes, but thin. Thin. He was the color of brown mule chewing tobacco. His eyes gray. Gray like Mapes, yes, but not hard like Mapes' eyes. He looked dead at Mapes. You ain't got nothing but time, Sheriff. What Mapes said? I did it, Johnny Paul said. I see, Mapes said. Either I stand here and let you talk about things you don't see and the things that others don't see, or I take you in. I see. Yes, sir, Johnny Paul said. But you still don't see. Yes, sir, what you see is the weeds, but you don't see what we don't see. Do you see it, Johnny Paul, Mapes asked him. Nah, I don't see it, Johnny Paul said. That's why I killed him. I see, Mapes said. No, you don't, Johnny Paul said. No, you don't. You had to be here to don't see it now. You can't just come down here every now and then. You had to live here 77 years to don't see it now. No, Sheriff, you don't see. You don't even know what I don't see. Ernie Gaines bears witness. He doesn't see what is really there. He doesn't see it because it's not there. I'd like to read some other words of his, not from a book, but from a documentary film that we helped fund about Ernie Gaines, where he talks about himself as a writer. And again, the same theme about what he's bearing witness to is there. And this is Ernie himself talking. You had to be there then to be able to don't see it and don't hear it now. But I was here then, and I don't see it now, and that's why I did it. I did it for them back there under them trees. I did it because that tractor is getting closer and closer to that graveyard. And I was scared if I didn't do it, one day that tractor was going to come in there and plow up them graves, getting rid of all that proof that we ever was. Like now, they're trying to get rid of all the proof that black people ever farmed this land with plows and mules, like if they had nothing from the start but motor machines. Sure, one day they will get rid of the proof that we ever was, but they ain't going to do it while I'm still here. Mama and Papa work too hard in these fields. They Mama and they Papa work too hard in these same fields. They Mama and Papa people work too hard to have that tractor just come in that graveyard and destroy all proof that we ever was. I'm the last one left. I had to see that the graves stayed for a little while longer. And we have those books. We have Catherine Carmier, written in 1964. We have Of Love and Dust. We have the short story collection Bloodline. We have In My Father's House. We have A Gathering of Old Men. We have the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. And most recently, we have A Lesson Before Dying. Ernest Gaines has given all of us something and memories that we never would have had were it not for he. And I congratulate the Amistad, the board, its arts committee, for choosing, among all others, Ernest J. Gaines to receive this award.
Thanks, Michael. I told Michael before to keep this sort of short because mine is going to be shorter. But it seemed that Michael extended it a little bit. So thank you, Michael, not only for that wonderful introduction, but also for the great work that you're doing with Cultural Vista. And also Rhonda's over here, your assistant over there. So she's doing a wonderful job herself. Cultural Vista, for some of you who may not know what it is about, is one of the most important magazines in the state of Louisiana, as well as in this country, in disseminating our Louisiana heritage. I'm most honored, ladies and gentlemen, to have been chosen a recipient of this award, along with the pianist Leon Bates, and with our other patrons. I might as well call her name because I have to, that is patron of the arts, Mrs. Leah Chase. My wife Diane and I have spent many wonderful hours at Mrs. Chase's restaurant enjoying the food as well as the paintings that she has there, and many, many of those. Last year we celebrated our wedding dinner at the restaurant with our families and friends, and Michael was also at our wedding dinner. Back in the 60s, I criticized many of my contemporaries for writing only about northern city ghettos and about drugs and prostitution and jazz and gangsterism, as though nothing else had happened to us, African Americans these past 300 years. I realized why they wrote about these subjects. They were very immediate, and because at that time the publishers were only interested in publishing that sort of thing about the African American people as well as African American writers. But there were those of us who stuck to our guns in writing about the past, and we would have to pay later because we were not recognized until later. However, we did. And today some of the most recognizable writing is about the past, and many of these people who are very popular today, and one just received a Nobel Prize, and her work is based on much of the past. When I was doing research work for the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, I got to get bits of information wherever I could find it. From the books I bought in San Francisco, because that's where I was writing the novel, as well as all the other books that I've written. I got information from the San Francisco Public Library. I got information when I came down to Baton Rouge. I always come to Baton Rouge from San Francisco. And from the library there at Southern University, from the State Library there in Baton Rouge, as well as from the Louisiana Room at LSU. So I had to sort of, and then I had to go out to the fields to talk to the people for information about Miss Jane. So I was bouncing all over the place just to get this kind of information. Today, that young African-American writer who wishes to write about his people, who wishes to write about the past, can find no better place to begin than the Amistad Research Center. And I think that had many of my contemporaries, say back there in the 60s when we were just beginning to write about things, had such an institution to which they could go to, would have chosen much more historical things than the kind of more immediate thing that they were writing about at that time. This is why I feel that the Amistad Research Center is so important and should be supported by all of us sitting here, and we should go out and tell 10 other people about the center. I must admit now that I did not know about it until about a year or so ago. There are so many young people out there who have no idea of that history, absolutely none. There are young people today in high school. There are young people walking on campuses and where I'm teaching at USL, and I'm pretty sure at many other institutions in this country, who would not be able to tell you who Daisy Bates is, or who Fannie Hammer or John Lewis is. To them, to these young people, history was yesterday. To these young people, life is what is on television, and life is what is in the newspaper headlines today. Institutions such as the Amistad Research Center gives them another choice. My wife and I and others, Leon, were over at the center this morning, and I've never been so impressed in my life by the thing that we saw over there this morning. Again, with deepest humility, I accept this award and proud to share this moment with Leon and with Mrs. Leah Chase. And I'm honored to be at on the same list with other people such as Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis and Jacob Lawrence and John Scott, the Marcellus family, Margaret Walker, and so many others who have received this award before us, and I'm pretty sure who will be up here where I am sometime in the future. Thank you very much for this one. Thanks a lot. I think this guy will. Oh, okay.
I'd like to also acknowledge Mrs. Gaines again, since I screwed it up so badly the last time. Our congratulations to you for your support of this great man and this great talent. And God bless you both, and wish that you continue with a long, long, happy career and life. Thank you so much. At this time, the Amistad is going to honor one of our very own local and brilliant talents, and Dr. Leonard Burns will do the honors.
Thank you very much, G. Mrs. G. Tucker, to make it official. Honoree Leon Bates, Honoree Ernest Gaines, and Leah Chase, Dais guests. We've gathered here to honor several people, several outstanding persons that really deserve the honors that we are bestowing on them. One who has the art of making melodies of music and sounds with a finger. One who has the art of putting words to create great books with a pen. And the distinguished honoree that I have to introduce is one who prepares most exquisite meals with pots and pans. We have enjoyed the pots and pans, and I won't get away from this dais to show you what those pots and pans have prepared. Several years ago, during the civil rights fight, this was the hitching post for most of us who were in the thick of things. And she made the most artistic plates of red beans and rice. She put hot sausage on it that was just like a painting of a masterpiece on the wall. She has a unique collection of African art at the Leah Chase restaurant. She also has some sculptures around there that she's collected from various places. She's adorned Leah Chase's restaurant with many of the famous art pieces. Her contribution to the arts world and her participation has made her an international, given her an international reputation. This is one that all of us know. We've seen her on television. We've seen her with an apron. We've seen her with a spoon. We've seen her with a pot. And we've seen her serving dishes and taking credit for all of the good, tasty dishes that she's prepared. It is my pleasure to present to a longtime friend, one that has provided food for the hungry members of this committee. Leah Chase, will you come forward, please? Amistad Patrons of the Art Award presented to Leah Chase by the Amistad Research Center, December the 3rd, 1994, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, ladies, you heard it right here. Stick with your pots and pans. They're giving Pots and Pans Awards these days. The pots and pans. What I do with the pots and pans, every woman in here can do. But what I would like to have every person in here do is, you may not be able to be a genius like Mr. Gaines, or such a talent as Leon Bates, and a build like Leon Bates. Mrs. Bates, you have to bring him back home. He doesn't know what he's supposed to look like. Look around you, Mr. Bates. Where is every other chest you see? Below the belt. Under the wrong chest. We have to bring him back home to show him what he's supposed to look like. But it's really good being here, and that I wish everyone here would get an award where you support the arts. These people are talented, they are super talented, but we have to support them. I have no talent at all, but I appreciate theirs. I appreciate reading those books, listening to music, buying the visual arts. We have to support our own, and I beg you, please do that. Thank you so much.
Every time I think of Leah Chase, I think of a woman who gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. And I often wonder when I see her in that restaurant, what makes her tick? You know, I'd love to be cut off of the same piece of cloth. God bless you, Leah, and thank you for everything you've done for this time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to thank this lovely lady, the co-chair, and this incredible talent in her own right. I thought I was looking at Lena Horne over there for a second. Miss McKenna, please come forward and give your remarks. You're wonderful, Brendolyn. Thank you very much. My co-chairman, Dr. Burns, and I would like to thank the people who made this great event possible. First of all, to Drs. Lupin and their foundation for their very generous support. For our co-chairs, Ramona Bodie and Jim Thorns, would you please stand? Thank you very much for a wonderful patrons party. This event could not happen without the support of a dedicated band of volunteers. Would the members of the Amistad Arts Committee and hostesses please stand? Everybody stand, don't be shy. And they are a wonderful group of people to work with. Just to let the committee know, we'll start planning again almost immediately, and our wrap-up meeting is scheduled for January 19th. We hope some of you in the audience will join us in our organizing to honor African American achievements in the arts. Just call up the center or note your interest on the sign-in sheets. I happen to think that the Amistad Research Center is one of our city's best-kept secrets. And we hope that all of you will come over and that you'll spread the word. We want you to spread the word and let everybody in this town know what we have here and invite them over to the center. Mrs. Chase has already been recognized, but you all should know that the bulk of the planning for this event takes place at Dookie Chase's restaurant, which is another enticement for you all to join us, to join our committee. Mrs. Chase, thank you again. I cannot leave this podium without thanking the Amistad Research Center staff. How could we do it without you? Please stand. Thank you so very, very much. We would also like to thank the SUNO students for the decorations. Would you please stand? And finally, to you, our loyal friends and supporters, without you, this gala would not have been the success that it has been tonight. Thank you so much for coming, and come back again next year. Have a good evening.